It's my pleasure to introduce our first feature poet today, Ned Balbo. Many of you here know him. Ned has been a regular of the Hot L, which we very much appreciate, and I'm excited that he's a feature here today. Ned is the author of 6 collections of poetry, including the Cylburn Touch-Me-Nots, which received the new Criterion Poetry Prize, and 3 nights of the Perseids, and that won the Reichert Wilbur Award. Both of those books were published in 2019. He's also the author of The Trials of Edgar Poe and Other Poems. That received the Donald Justice Prize and the 2012 Poets Prize. A Johns Hopkins Writing Seminars and Iowa Writers Workshop graduate. Ned taught forever. Forever was his word, I didn't add that. Just full disclosure.
It seemed like forever.
Didn't seem like anything to me.
It was 24 years.
I'm kidding. Yeah, so in his words, he taught forever at Loyola University of Maryland before accepting a visiting faculty position in the Iowa State Writers MFA program in creative writing and environment. He is a 4-time Maryland Arts Council Poetry Grant recipient and an NEA Translation Grant recipient. I'm also happy to say that Ned's poems are in a copy of Smartish Pace. So thank you for that, Ned, for sending us good poems. And you've been persistent with us, which I appreciate.
Oh, indeed.
So as many of you know, Ned's partner is the poet and essayist Jane Satterfield, who's here as well, and was a feature in this series a few years ago. Thanks for coming, Jane, as well. With that, please welcome Ned Balbo.
Thanks, Stephen. Glad to be here. Thank you, Bird and Hand and Emily, as well as Stephen, David, and Clare. I'm going to get my watch here in plain sight. I'm going to read a few poems from the Cylburn Touch-Me-Nots first. It's a book that got lost in the pandemic because it came out December 2019, and soon we were all squirreled away with each other. And so this is the first time I'm actually reading from it for a live audience who are really in front of me. I'll start with the opening poem, which is called Crow Hour. It takes place in Iowa State amid the brutalist architecture of its dorms. Crow Hour. It's the hour of dark and not dark, hour of wings gathering in the trees, on brutalist ledges, hour of shades alighting to claim a place, the hour of trading places, hour of secrets, roosting and rest, hour of blackest vision, shoulder to shoulder, drawn to this haven's height, called to this refuge, heralds of mob and murder wrongfully named, an hour of multitudes, vigilant, restless, watchful for hawk and owl, hour to be wary, aware, no voices, no cars, the sky, pale violet to view with a scavenger's calm, intruders below, whose faces they notice and know, but heed not at all in the coming of strays and stragglers, hour of cause and cause beyond our ken, hour of kin who soar over power lines, turning to black leaves, filling each long bare branch, and more are arriving, hour of crows, awaiting a sign that the hour is over to fill the sky. It's amazing when they gather and roost together in such numbers. More crows. This is called unearthly crows. It's kind of a amalgam of various mythologies and impressions of mythologies. Unearthly crow. Who are you, crow? Fire thief, the gods familiar, trickster in endless orbit, touched by night? How long will you keep flying round the world you either made or witnessed being born? Eons, perhaps, or many years at least. One black eye holds the continents below, the earth's curve toward horizons. One eye holds galactic distances as dark as time, uncharted worlds past measure. The only proof of planets so far off they can't be seen is gravity's effect. Are you like that? Invisible and dark, riding the currents through mythologies? Does every corner you surpass bring ill luck? Or do you? Whatever trick you have in mind must wait till you break off from flight, relieved at last. The earth's torn paper shorelines, azure seas your charge no longer. Nor should we lay claim to your attention finally when you do. But won't you tell us what your vision holds? One eye, the stars that mark this endless circuit and eternal watch. The other, stars that cities scatter nightly to the waiting dark. Okay. Let's make sure we have all the poems here we're looking for. Oh, here's one. Everyone here knows the Ambassador, I think, if you live in Baltimore for any length of time, the Indian restaurant in the Ambassador apartment complex where I lived for 14 years and have many, many happy and unhappy memories. This is kind of a reinvention of Apollinaire's poem 1904, but here it's dedicated to my wife and partner, Jane Satterfield, in Baltimore, 2004. In Baltimore, 2004, I lived alone with one black cat, divorced in the Ambassador. Did I have to tell you that? Famous for its faded grandeur, a 10-floor edifice of brick where I might hold a lease today if time stood still or each month's check weren't a future thrown away. Indian spices, clove, turmeric rode the elevator air, clinging to cat and clothes and coat, homeward bound with every dinner I called in and carried out to share with you when you stayed over. A 4-star restaurant of our own downstairs, the courtyard right outside, stone fountain and an English garden. What more could anybody need? Even today, where flowers swoon in waves that edge a lush green lawn, still drawn to that mock Tudor lobby, skyline views the gentle vision of another century. Why, you who love me, you alone. I'm an adopted person, and eventually I had to get to that subject, friends that know me. This is a poem about sitting with my adoptive mother, Betty, and looking at the photographs from her life. Her mother is named Stella, and thinking how you almost take in the emotional baggage and imprint of the people that you live with, and almost as if you take on their memories too, even as you look through their memories. So this is a villanelle. Stella's children look out from a photo, faded gold. And it's addressed to my adopted mother, Betty. No matter where you vanished, you're vanished still. Astonished, pointing out your childhood face, whatever I felt, I know I always will remember your words. That's me. The car was full, prop Model T, 3 boys, 2 girls, your mother's trace of a cold smile vanishing still, that bygone era, pale and possible, in the grim-faced, slow exposure photos glazed to gold. What I feel now, I always will, displaced. Gently, you spoke, the silent reel that carried your memory forward brought no grace. No matter. When you vanished, you vanished. Still, I see them through your eyes. Eddie's motorcycle blasted in war, Henry's shell-shocked gaze, who knows what his captors did, Al's loss of will in a bottle's presence, living in basement rubble, even Vera, whose loss refused all solace. No matter when, they vanished. They're vanished still. Whatever you felt, I felt, and always will. The last poem from this book, you thought you were getting off easy, is actually in the Burns stanza, and it's called Panther, and it is addressed to my birth mother, Elaine, who is actually Betty's half-sister, much younger, 20 years younger. And these families did intertwine. I did know everyone growing up, but I did not know that I was not the birth child of my adoptive parents. So this is addressed to my birth mother and takes place at a time before I knew that she, Elaine, was my birth mother. Panther. Rare Christmas, visitors had come. At play, I studied in my palm the talisman I kept from harm, a stylized panther. I wrote its finish with my thumb. I was the center of its life, if life it had. A die-cast token made of lead, watchful, sleek, it stared ahead, its face a snarl, a tail fixed in apparent threat, did not unfurl, but mimicked motion, motionless. I could have sworn I heard it hiss, until a voice I couldn't miss moved into range. With everything these kids possess, isn't it strange they get attached to things so small? I thought I was invisible, as boast and banter rose and fell, but I was not, and found myself surprised to feel so separate, caught. Still, I took in the panther's glance, its scaled-down show of vigilance, incapable of violence, and felt it stir through artifice or art's pretense. Who holds the power to force the surge of molten metal into forms we treat as real, when maybe they're not real at all? It's 50 years. I'm waiting for that surge to cool into this verse. I think that's the halfway point. Downhill from here for me, uphill for you. I'm going to read some new poems, and this is actually maybe the darkest poem, maybe a little bit sad, and I'm going to move into others that are about the world, eco-poems, which I've been writing and I've been circulating in a book, not yet published. This I wrote earlier this month, How to Cook an Omelet, and I'm partly reading it because an old friend out of nowhere suddenly has shown up and is here in town. There he is, Randy. Fellow that's known me since middle school. I had no idea he was here, no idea he would be here. So I have to read something that has my mom in it because he actually knows my mom or knew her. And there's so few of them left. How to Cook an Omelet, March 1979. Ideally, your mother should be dead, your father stunned by loss and out of work, and you yourself a college sophomore on spring break with your girlfriend visiting. The bare trees gray, the equinox ahead. We'll need a cast iron skillet, eggs and butter she can melt, sizzling into the mix. She'll tend with patience while your father smokes his ill-starred pack of Lucky Strikes to ash. The pan shall be your mother's, like the finch entrusted to your father's custody, a bird once yours who now belongs to no one, now that she who loved him most is gone. Nothing can happen till you whisk the eggs to liquid sun, your father looking on, grateful for what he knows he'll never learn, but you will, so your girlfriend believes. And so you'll use the knife, unspool the layers of onion on the shop class cutting board, and mince the fragments soon to fall away, translucent, softening. Watch how she wields the fork, transposing chunks that slide and hiss, now ready to receive the milky fluid you blended, smoothly perfect. Let it pour. Be patient. Keep the heat low as the omelet forms, your girlfriend tagging ragged edges with a fork to keep the egg from sticking, calmly passing on these rudiments of independence to your widowed father, cast alone on shores without your counsel, or his wife's, these many months at sea. Have you been lost as well? Now grate the cheese, cheddar, Parmesan, or cut-rate Swiss, your taste will guide you. Give in to her voice, your girlfriend's soft tones filling up the space your mother filled with anguish, tears, or laughter not so long ago, that now is filled with cooking smells, brief trills, unwelcome smoke. Then, sprinkled cheese, a rain bleached nearly white upon the egg, solidifying slowly under smiles and small talk, spatula in reach, the fan beneath the range hood humming, memory taking hold, the singer perched upon your mother's finger, taking off to fly out of the room in bursts of song, the reward of lonesome homebound housewife days. The moment of truth, step up, flip carefully. Don't tear the golden fabric as it folds, your girlfriend laughing kindly at your clumsy painstaking technique, your father famished, now that onions flavoring the whole house with its sultry tang, the bird awake, alert, and lively as if half expecting to be let out, as in bygone days when, set free to take flight, he glimpsed an image, gold and green-winged, passing in the mirror, matching every move before returning swiftly, safely to your mother's hand. Okay, I think I just have 2 or 3 more. And they're shorter. That was the longest one. Wildfire Moon, June 2023. We all remember this, I think. The wildfires still burning in Quebec spill upward into smoke. Each fleck a torn up silhouette of scorched particulate that floats and sparks against the dark. Swept south, the smoke stalls here. Code orange, twitch-eared, the rabbits wander, restless, weird. There's fire close by, but where? They hurtle round, panicking without a sound. Glimpsed through the scrim of ash dust and debris, twilight's changing rapidly, rust red, unnatural, and breathing deep is painful. Fires emblazon far horizons, coast to coast, across the continent. Forget the birds, they've all gone silent, tucked into dark trees. Invisible, though now we see burnished bell, the wildfire moon still climbing in the sky. Don't name it rose or strawberry. It's not some growing thing, but fire forged, like a ring or else a shield, wrongly beheld, that, celebrated for its craftsmanship, hangs battered in the haze of sleep. You're touched by the remains of branch and leaf, charred black, yet strangely light, like grief. Okay. We'll see how quickly this goes. This could be the last one. One of the things you probably picked up is that given the milieu I described from my growing up, it's strange to be noticed on your own with a kind of secret that you and a few others know, but no one else knows. And that kind of family vigilance and scrutiny is very strange to experience. And one of the things that struck me in the story of Thomas Jefferson is, of course, the children he had with Sally Hemings, and the fact that they had to live in the same household and interact constantly, but without any acknowledgement of who they were. It made me wonder, how much do people know, how much do they suspect, how much were they in denial about? Much has been written and speculated. This is in a stanza, and I think this is going to be the last poem, just so you know, that is inspired, I think, by Anthony Heck because of its complexity, but also by Joe Harrison, who's a wonderful poet that many of us know here in Baltimore, who we lost earlier this week, and was really a master of complex stanzas, intricate rhymes and meter. And so in some ways, I think that I was unconsciously imitating his own practice when I wrote this. So once again, thanks to everybody for having me here. I'm looking forward to hearing Lauren as well. It'll be fun to hear your work aloud and follow along in the book too. So this is called Jefferson's Mockingbird, and it is a correspondence in which he is erasing the truth that all of us, I think, will know as we listen. Jefferson's Mockingbird. Thomas Jefferson in retirement praises a beloved pet and recounts the departure of Sally Hemings' son Beverly circa 1822. So this is Jefferson's voice, imagined. I've known no greater pleasure, then or since, than in correspondence, particularly when alone, beyond well-meaning influence and keeping my own counsel. I gently pinch the cage door open and hear the first notes of his call. Dear Dick, my mockingbird. After his brief flight round the room, feathers flashing, I don't have to say a word. He lands upon me, quite at home. I write, he sings. Melodious and pure, his voice calls to a future it's unlikely that I'll see, though no man can be sure what fortune has in store. He chirrups so inventively, I wish I could compose a score to capture every note. Instead, I fetch my violin and we duet together, born passed out by the grace of God in Haydn. Mine is not the only instrument, by luck or accident, to spark his mimicry and muse. Beverly, a servant, the chambermaid's oldest son, put his fiddle to good use. I taught him well and gave him one. My granddaughters delighted to perfect their minuet, while Dick, though caged, found heart to sing, excited by the plangent strains of catgut. Beverly's run off from Monticello without my leave to go, though I've sent no one to fetch him, and will not do so now. It's best he start anew where Virginia law can't catch him. His sisters vanished with him too. Their mother is resigned, glad of their station's betterment, and a better maid for it, while I intend to relish my retirement. Captivity is strange. Among live flowers, Dick spends his waking hours, bright sun, geranium, and rose, inspiring his powers. My study's window space is his own mock garden. I suppose dear Dick's one of my successes. His cage well situated, he's still ecstatic to be freed, to soar in great bursts, and his joy abated, fondling from my lips to feed. Dear Martha would have loved Dick's soothing song, if not his liberties. Long nights pass in learning, planets gleaming faintly, right or wrong. I trade the telescope for thoughts of sleep in Saturn's ring and cover up the cage. I hope you'll one day know the joy a fine bird offers to the house, kept close and treated kindly, like the boy whose name is no loss. Damn it, I always tear up. I'm horrible that way. Fail again.
Thank you, Ned. Good to hear the old poems, especially nice to hear the new ones. Thanks for being a regular in the series, and of course for being the feature today. We really appreciate it.